everybody's probably gonna get a notice on their screen to let them know that I'm recording and that you have to accept. I get a share link for you all, as well as I'll be sharing my screen. There's my screen. Anyone needs their own copy, there's a link in the chat, and it'll also be posted on the website along with this video, with this recording. So, hello everybody. My name is Justin Hale. I am the referee development officer for Lone Star, a USA Rugby referee, an NCR referee, and I enjoy refereeing. I want to welcome you all to our first Lone Star chat. As of now, based on the voting for those who did the referee questionnaire, it was overwhelmingly let's do bi-weekly, and therefore these meetings will be bi-weekly. For those who don't know what bi-weekly means, it means every 2 weeks. So just like your paychecks. For the first couple of weeks, we're going to do a Thursday just because I have prior commitments and I can't do Wednesdays. But about the third or fourth presentation, we'll probably move to Wednesdays, especially because for our player referees and coaches, most of you practice on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so Thursdays aren't always as feasible. But we're early in the season, and a lot of people aren't practicing right now, or they're just getting ready to start up. So Thursdays work for now. I just want to quick how these meetings will go. Every meeting, I'm going to try my best to have some type of agenda. That agenda is usually going to be in the email as well as in your invite. I don't want anybody to take this as a me talking to you all presentation, because that sucks. This is meant to be a open dialogue. So feel free to ask questions anywhere along the way. No question is a dumb question, as they say. So feel free to ask anything. And I or the group of referees here will try to answer to the best of their ability. I'll be the one leading these for the most part, and maybe here or there we'll try to maybe bring in some special presenters if there's a specific topic that people have told me that they want to cover. So I guess before I get started, are there anybody have any questions so far about anything that I've said? Fantastic. So this chat this week is the lead up to the match. So we're not going to be watching any game footage like we're probably going to do in weeks 2, 3, and so forth. This is, hey, we're moving into our first big round of cup matches. This is how do we prepare for week in and week out to get to our next match, from everything from drinking our water all the way up to what do we do right before we blow the first whistle. So just to put this meeting in context. So this is the lead up to the match. Yeah, I should click over here. Boom. So just short table of contents. That probably doesn't mean anything to anybody right now. It's more important, I guess, if you're looking at the deck later on. And so, like I already mentioned, the plan for the Lone Star chats is meant to serve as an open forum for referees. So I'm here to provide the best practices and guidance to help you become a better referee. All referees are welcome to join and ask questions anytime during the presentation. Caveat: don't put what I say as the gold standard, but just know that it comes from a place of experience, of experience. So everything I'm presenting, it's things that I've learned from everything from club level up to MLR and doing international fixtures. So first things first, before we step on the field, and I just got to say this one more time, we have to ensure that you're properly registered as a rugby referee. This is a non-negotiable when it comes to refereeing. We all have to be registered, i.e. SIPT. whichever way you want to look at it. Technically, SIP went away like 2 years ago and it's called register now. But for us old folks, we know SIP. For everybody else, it's registered. Either way, to be an AR or to get paid as an AR, you can be a touch judge all day without being registered. But to be paid as AR and to officiate the match, you must be a registered referee. The dues this year are $150, and everything there is what it covers. If you don't know where to register, you can click that register here link. If you need help, reach out to either me, Randy, or Doug, whoever you're most comfortable with, and we will figure out what we can work out. Any questions here? Any questions here? Fantastic. So we're leading up now to what are we doing before we get to the match. Communication is a key to rugby officiating, right? So whether that's on the field or off the field, we have to start our open lines of communication. Teams should be reaching out to you the Monday before the match if we're all scheduled, and our goal is to be scheduled 30 days in advance, if not 2 weeks in advance. And so teams should already be reaching out to you by Monday, end of day, 5 p.m. To give you the details needed for the match or any changes that have happened. If they don't reach out to you, and even if they do, I recommend, well, one, you should always respond so they know that you received their message. And if they don't reach out to you, which happens a lot, so plan on it. By Wednesday, we should be reaching out to them. I've included here what should be included in that email. Obviously, your name. In the subject line, you want to put the fixture. So whether it's Huns versus Blacks, September 23rd, in the subject line, so everybody knows what it is and we know it's not spam. Within the email, list the dates of everything that's going on. So the two teams, the date that you have, the time that you have, the location that you have on file, if any. If you don't have a location on file, put no location or put a question mark or something like that. I would ask the team colors, and I would also ask what's the field type. The reason I ask the field type because you may want to wear a different pair of cleats if you don't want to bring both pair of cleats. So if we know, like many high schools are playing on turf, you may want to bring out your turf shoe because you don't want to play in molded cleats. If you need an example of the template, you can always visit the website, which is there. You can copy and paste. You can copy and paste it, literally copy and paste it. And I've even done an example below of an actual email that I've sent. So that's there for you. If you need help finding the contacts, because the signer isn't always great at showing the contacts, the club contacts are on the website as well. You can get there. So I gave you a direct link with your every team. Every team is here with their phone number and email. If you were to do it from the website, you come over here to contacts and you're going to look for conference contacts. It's going to bring you to the exact same sheet. So this is a sheet that's continuously updated by us. So it's always the most up to date as long as they're giving us their information. Any questions so far? Any comments? Anything that people who send out pre-match emails like to include in their email as well? Nope, because we don't send pre-match emails. Fantastic. What's next? Before the match, we have to have our bag packed, right? So I recommend finding you a bag, a duffel bag, a good sized backpack, maybe something around 15, 20 liters. A backpack that you can just make a referee backpack. And what I found that this does, it just makes life easy. So when you're running behind, because as I can see many of y'all here have kids and we're doing stuff last minute, it's a bag that I can wash everything, throw it back in there. And when I'm in a rush, I can just grab it and go. And I know it has everything in there. And so for me, I have a dedicated referee backpack for local matches. So anything within Texas where I'm going to be traveling day of there and back. If I'm going out of state or something, we pack a little bit differently. So within our bag, there's a few must-haves, things that you can't go to the field without. Those being your uniform, your whistle, your cards, your watch, your coin, some flags, pen and paper for taking notes. Oh, not taking notes, but taking score. Unless you can do it on your watch, which many watches can do these days. This is my preferred method. Um, your boots or your turf cleats. Um, a cell phone or your device to report your scores and cards at the end of the match is highly recommended. So after the match, you can literally just open up your phone, type in the score, write your report, do any foul play, and submit that before you even leave the pitch. And of course, a water bottle. Some optional things you may want to throw in your bag are some turf cleats. So sometimes we go to a grass field and we know it's not a grass field. Yeah, if you ever been to the Blacks field, it's technically grass, but you'll be better off probably wearing some tennis shoes or some turf cleats because it's not very forgiving. If you're nice, a first aid kit. So if we have any blood and for adult games, adults don't have to have a trainer like they do for high school and college. A first aid kit is always nice if they don't have one. Throw a spare whistle in there. You never know what happens if you carry a plastic whistle, it could break. Weirder things have happened. The ball stops blowing or something like that. But having a backup whistle, a voice recorder for anyone who's looking to become a better referee. One of the best things you can do is film yourself and listen to yourself. And we can't always film ourselves, and the teams don't always film, which is unfortunate. But one thing we can always do is have a voice recorder on us and listen to what we're saying, understanding how we're transcribing the game, so to speak, as we're refereeing. If after an hour and a half you're like, man, I'm sick and tired of listening to myself, then think about how the players felt while they're out there getting tackled, and you're talking every 2-3 seconds. You're saying something, saying something, saying something. So if you've never recorded yourself refereeing, it is highly, highly, highly recommended. Personally, I do it myself for probably 75% of my matches right now. The other 25, I forgot my recorder or the batteries died and I forgot to change them. But constantly recording yourself and listen to how you're saying things. Listen to how you're telling people to roll away and what you're saying. Listen to the inflection of your voice, the speed of what you're saying, and things like that. So highly recommended. If you have radios, obviously pack your radios, and you may not have ARs, but one thing I like to do every once in a while, well, not even every once in a while, if I don't have ARs, I don't give them to touch judges. I like to give a pair of radio to the coaches, especially for high school games and lower level college games. I give those radios to the coaches, turn off the speaking feature, and so then they can just hear what I'm saying. So then at halftime is less of them trying to run to me and ask me what was this call and what was this call. They can just listen the whole time, and it's also great because they're so busy listening, they don't have time to actually yell out something at you. So it's a cool little trick that I've learned there with using radios. Give one to the coaches because then they have something to listen to and no time to complain about what a call was. And then finally, a snack. Snack should probably be in a must-have more than an optional. But if you're doing a local game that's 10 minutes away from you, you're probably going to eat before you leave the house and get something when at the social or as soon as you get back home. So you can use snack in either one. Any questions here on packing your bag or anything that somebody else likes to have with them? Sweet. Tough crowd. So just if you need to post a picture in your house, there's a picture for you within this presentation. This is a diagram from World Rugby. Some extra stuff in there. I say I don't do sunscreen, toiletries. Hopefully they have those there. Yeah, Chris.
Yeah, I'll help you out. I know you're looking for input.
Hey, we'll be out of here quick if nobody says anything, so that's fine with me.
I know one thing I used to do was bring a spare front row waivers, but as I understand it, all that's taken care of in RX now. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct.
Okay, sweet. So no spare forms needed. Everything's
Nope.
digital.
And
That's awesome.
and somebody asked a question about it. The problem became it really meant nothing. Essentially, like it really meant nothing because just because they give you a front row waiver, we didn't do anything to file them away after that, right? So it wasn't like your job in HR where they have to keep documents on file for 7 years and stuff like that. Typically, referees took a front row waiver and probably stuffed it in your bag, and then 2 weeks later, you're like, "What the hell is this?" And you throw it out because you didn't need it anymore, right? And so a front row waiver was more of a facade. And plus, since we don't sit there, since we don't in regular cup matches or exhibitions sit there and check IDs of each individual player, we got no way to prove anything anyway. That's on the sheet. So yeah, they got rid of us having to do that. Refs were having to do too much. We have to check everything. We dang near had to wash your car and everything else before the match. Our job is to go out there and referee a fair contest. Yeah, no front row waivers. No front row waivers. Sweet. Any more questions?
That was part of that's why I was listening tonight. So we don't have to do any front row waivers. We don't have to collect rosters at all.
Nope.
None of that stuff. They just let them go. That's it.
Nope. And I don't mention it in this, and I'll add in a slide about it. I will add in a slide about it, but just because y'all are bringing it up, only thing that has to happen after a match now, the two coaches come together, verify that they have the same score, and submit those scores in front of you. If there's a discrepancy and they can't get on the same page, they can submit their score. You submit the score that you have, and then we'll worry about the conference or worry about that discrepancy. But those rosters they have to put in like 24 hours before or morning of or something before the game. So only thing we have to do is verify. They should come up with their phones, and the coaches know this as well. They should come to you with their phone, and you should physically watch them submit whatever they have.
Is that going to be TRU too?
It wasn't last year, so I'm not sure. We submitted rosters last year, and we had to submit like 24 or 48 hours in advance, which was a little different. But the referee didn't physically check anything. No, the referee didn't have to physically check anything.
Yeah, well, that's good. I've had a mountain of pieces of paper that I didn't know what to do with.
Yeah,
you just throw them away. It's just like
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Sweet. So moving into the fitness and the mental preparation of a match. So being physically and mentally ready is the foundation for us to be successful on the field, and our physical and mental preparation really go hand in hand. So as we know, as a referee, we need to be in excellent shape, in fantastic shape. So for us, this means regular cardiovascular training. And a lot of us, I know y'all like try to get your big arms and your big legs, but in reality, refereeing, I said big, Sal, not put it down. And in reality, that means that we should really doing a lot of running, working with our endurance, doing a little bit of strength training, just be able to handle the demands of refereeing. So running and flexibility are what gonna make you the most successful when you're on the pitch, running and being flexible. And I can tell you that from sevens, as a sevens referee and as a 15s referee, having that cardiovascular fitness and being flexible to prevent injury is what's going to set you up for success. So going into the week, if you have a game on Saturday and you have a game the next Saturday, that Sunday you should already be chugging water. So just like a player, right? We're drinking water throughout the entire week because we never know, especially here in Texas, what the weather's going to be like on that Saturday. It could be a snowstorm or it could be 110 degrees, and we have to be ready for whatever it is. And so that starts with us drinking water on that Sunday. During the week, we should be. I try to aim to run at least. I'm like at 6 or 7 miles during the week of some type of running. So whether that's, I know we have a lot of coaches and player referees. So whether that means, hey, I'm going out and playing touch. I'm moving around with the players doing warm ups. Whatever it is, or if I'm just going straight onto the road and getting some miles in, I'm getting 1 mile a day or 1 mile every other day. We should be aiming to get 3 to 6 miles a week of actual running on your legs, right? And then apart from that, just making sure we're fueling our body throughout the week, right? So if for those, and I think that's almost everybody here based on the faces, the preparation that you've done as a player is pretty much parallel to the preparation you should be doing as a referee. Apart from going to lift a lot of heavy weights. And in reality, in season, as a player, you really shouldn't be lifting a lot of heavy weights anyway. You're lifting weights to maintain, right? So just something to think about. And then if you need help, sorry, lost my screen. If you need help with it, with any of this, I'm not your guy to go to, but there's plenty of resources out there. One of these really good ones that I stumbled upon was this one from either Australia, New Zealand, but they had a resource for referees with a bunch of videos and physical fitness things you could be doing from warm-ups to warm downs to what you could be doing during the week for exercise. And I went through all of them. Their actually pretty dang good, and they put a lot of time and effort into it. So pretty cool research for you all if you want to check it out and you need help with that. Any questions or comments on the physical fitness before I move to mental preparation? Sweet. So mental preparation. For me, mental preparation is probably, if this is 100% physical and mental, the mental is probably 60-40, 70-30, right? The mental preparation becomes more important than the physical preparation, but the physical preparation is still important. Rugby can be intense, and as referees, we need to be able to stay focused and composed. In order to be focused and composed, it takes you have to be physically there, and so that's where the physical aspect becomes important, but we also have to be mentally there, and we have to understand our processes, how our body works under stress, how our mind works under stress. And so that's why you see these two sides together, because they go hand in hand. And so what are the things that we should be doing leading up to that contest at the end of the week? Number one, having law familiarity. That means reading your law book, reading the changes. It doesn't mean that every single week you need to go through and read your law book, or we don't get books no more, but your app from law 1 all the way to law 18. But you do need to be able to recognize the areas in which you're uncomfortable with. Go and read those and look up videos for those and try to understand those. Ask questions in the chat. Oh, what does this law actually mean? For referees, this doesn't mean that, hey, I need to know this law book verbatim. But the big things, I have to understand how it works, right? So I have to understand, what does it mean when somebody kicks from their own 49 and bounces an end goal, and then the defensive player runs in and kicks it out the back? What is that outcome? Those are situations you have to understand. Oh, they kicked it from the 50 and it went straight into touch at the 5. Is it a line out at the 5? Is it a line out at the 50? Is it a scrum back where they kicked it from? We have to understand those situations, and the first way to understand them is actually read what the law tells you, and then next is having a visualization, which is why you see it next, a visualization of those scenarios, right? So for me, I try to visualize everything that can happen in a game over the course of a week. So it doesn't mean I sit down for 3 hours and just run the game through my head. As I'm out working out, or I'm in my car, or whatever it may be, I'm thinking about different scenarios and trying to see those in my head. Oh, I can see an attacking. I can see a team attacking. I see them coming off a ruck and hitting the 10. Okay, where are they at? We're behind the 50. They kicked the ball. I've mentally said, or I've mentally said to myself or said out loud, behind the 50, 22 is on. And I'm watching that ball roll down the field, and I'm seeing it go out at the line, and I'm thinking about, hey, okay, what line am I running to get there? What am I telling the players? What am I watching for? Are they other teams going to try to quick throw, or the attacking team going to try to do a quick line out? I'm just running through situation over situation, and then the ones that I'm most uncomfortable with, I'm running through those even more. Like for example, for me, I hate not scrum, line out to malls. And so I do the most thinking about line out to malls and trying to visualize what every person is doing. Okay, we got 7 here and 7 here. Who's trying to disrupt? Where's this guy standing? Is he standing in the right spot? Okay, we jump. Can I see him pulling his arm down? Can I see this guy trying to squeeze through early? But we're visualizing those things over and over and over. And so anyway, we should be trying to achieve this week in and week out, day in and day out. Figuring out your pregame routine, and we'll talk about pregame routine later. But the more referees we can get, yeah, go ahead, Sal.
One thing to add to what Justin was talking about as far as like visualizing the game, one thing that I've done in the past is if anything kind of happened within World Rugby within the week, like familiarize yourself with that law. So like when Edzabis scored his try off of a box kick because it wasn't bound, everybody was asking about that the next week. Like all of my teammates were trying to be cheeky and kind of learn what was going on. Or I think in sevens, a try was scored on top of a pylon, but the ref called it a no try, and then World Rugby announced that it is now considered a try because it's part of the field. So if something major happens or makes news, familiarize yourself with that portion or that kind of change that has happened.
Yep, 100%. And I'll actually add the link in here to I think we have it somewhere else anywhere. The World Rugby laws. So you can always go to their page. And any updates, any variations they've added, law application guidelines, all that stuff comes straight to here. Oop, went too far. Pre-game routine. Referees, just like players, we want to become creatures of habit. And so what that means is we want to try to do the same thing over and over and over until we can't get it wrong. It's not even about getting it right. We're trying to achieve something until we can't get it wrong. And so for us, we should figure out what's our pre-game routine. That doesn't necessarily mean day of. Once again, this is going through the entire week. And so they can come down to, hey, what do I like to eat every single day for going into a match week? You know, I've talked to referees before, and they eat the same meal from Monday through Friday whenever they have a match, because that's what they know, and that's what makes them feel good. Not recommending it, because I like a steak on a Monday, maybe some tacos on Tuesday, and switch it up. But figure out your routine and learn to stay within your routine, because then what we start to do for ourselves and the mind is one less thing we have to think about leading to game week. Example, I know my favorite uniform is to wear is yellow, so I always have yellow. Once I get the team colors, if yellow fits in there, I don't have to think about my kit that week. I don't think about what I'm wearing to a game, because I wear all black everywhere I go, and so it's one less thought process I have to think about. My whistle is always in this very particular spot. My card is always in this very particular spot. So now when I'm looking for things, it becomes second nature on where it is. And so become a creature of habit in whatever your routine is leading into the week of your game. Stress management. Figure out, you learn yourself and learn when you're feeling stressed, and some techniques that you can do in order to decrease that stress. And we could probably go through a whole presentation on stress relieving methods. But right now I just kind of want to introduce it to get you something to think about. For those who have matches this weekend, one thing I would suggest with stress management, if you find yourself getting stressed over the game, figure out start with this one aspect of the game and dive deep into doing that one aspect completely right. Okay, the game is stressing me out. You know what? I have a scrum coming up. I'm gonna slow down that scrum. I'm gonna do everything completely perfect. So I can get rid of one stress factor. So I'm gonna slow down my cadence. I'm gonna make sure we have the perfect bind. I'm gonna make sure we have space in the gap before the set call. And I'm doing that to slow things down for the players, slow things down for me, and relieve some of that stress. So figure out what you do to relieve your stress. Scott Green, before scrums, would like tug his ear. When he was stressed, he would then tug his ear, and for some reason that calms him down. So yeah, stress management. If you have footage or your voice recorder, review your past matches. Be honest with yourself and figure out what you did right and what you did wrong, right? And think about, why did I do that wrong? What was I thinking? What was in my place? And that's kind of why we wore the voice recorder too, because usually we're speaking out loud. And so review those matches and, oh man, I got this call completely wrong. Why did I get that wrong? Oh, that's going to bring me back to my law to my law book. And once I read the law book and I go back to that, now I can visualize what should have happened in the situation and what might have been the next outcome. And then last but not least, practice your whistle and your signals. It's one of the easiest things that we can fix as a referee. It's sometimes it's a lot of work to get in the peak shape and things you need. But practicing your whistle and your signals, you can pretty much do sitting down at your computer. If you want to mix the two, I've added a link to this sin bin training that I created called the Referee Gauntlet. It combines using your whistle, it combines working with your signals, and it combines having some physical fitness all in one. So you want to accomplish some of this physical and mental aspect at one time. It's a pretty good training. Before I move to the next slide, any questions or comments? Sweet. Hopefully we got audio. I don't know if I had to click the audio, but let me know if you have audio or not. Oh. Yeah, Nate. Can y'all hear? Did the video make noise?
Keep going. I don't know if we had enough to hear something.
No sound. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna try something here. Let's do it this way. Share audio. This share. All right, we should see video. Rewind.
Ben O'Keefe. It's a milestone game for him too. His 50th Super Rugby match. Mike Fraser.
Yeah, look, the day of the game is really important. You're going to be running for 80 minutes, and it's pretty high intensity. So I think it's really important to have a big breakfast, obviously lunch, and then just work back from the game. Everyone's slightly different in terms of what they can run on. For me, it took me a few years to sort of work that out, but I know that, look, as long as I know that I'm having good food beforehand, maybe say an hour before kickoff, maybe a sandwich, banana, hydration, then it means that I'm actually running really well, but I'm also got a really clear head to be able to make some good decisions in the game. You want some carbohydrate, you want some protein, so I think a pretty decent sandwich you can get, like a chicken sandwich there, and maybe a bowl of water. If you can get that on board, I reckon that's going to help a lot.
Ben O'Keefe, he's a pretty dang good referee.
Ben O'Keefe.
Move the next slide.
A milestone game for him too. His 50th.
So we move to our next topic. So our day of expectations from the ref and our expectations of our referees. Excuse me. Once again, want to reiterate, practicing your whistle tones and communication going into the game. One of the best times, the best times to practice this is actually, at least for me, and I've heard the same from other referees, is in the car ride to the pitch, right? It doesn't matter if the pitch is only 5 minutes away or it's an hour away, or we're in Texas, so it could be 3-4 hours away. But practicing your whistle and your communication in the car. I love practicing the whistle in my car because you can hear the inflection. So sometimes when we're outside, you don't get the same echo. When I'm in a car, you hear everything. I hear exactly what my scrum whistle sounds like versus my penalty whistle versus this and that. Versus my try whistle or my foul play whistle, and then practicing that communication, right? And when I'm having to practice that communication, it also makes us practice that visualization again. So I may blow the whistle, tweet. I'm putting my arm up because we're in Texas, we're driving with one hand anyway. I put my arm up, scrum white, knock on by blue, or whatever it may be. So it has me visualizing the game. I'm hearing my whistle tone. I'm listening to my communication, and all while literally just driving to the match and using that time. It's an expectation, be on time, right? So we want to be at the pitch at least 45 minutes before the match. One, make the team calm to know that, hey, actually I have a referee today, but you've already emailed them beforehand, so they know you're a professional and you're coming. But the other reason we get there early is to, one, check the field status. Can we actually play on this pitch? And you don't want to find out that you can't play on the pitch 2 minutes before getting there. So how's the field? Are there rocks across the field, or are the field flooded or whatnot? Do we have flags up? Is the field properly lined, and do we have goalpost pads? If we don't have all four of those things, we can't have a match on that field. We might can get away with no flags, but it should be flags there. But we're getting there early for that. When we get there, we want to find the person in charge. So it's going to be somebody from the home team, probably the coach or the captain. Yeah.
Just so I hear, I'm pretty sure I know it, but maybe we're on the same page. What is like proper flag setup for a field? 50, 22, and then tri-zone flags?
Check your law book. It's a whole diagram in there, but I throw a diagram in here just for you. Yeah, but it's 14 flags, so it's four at the end goals, right? And those are on the line, and then you have the 50, and then you have the 22s. Yeah, no flags on the 10.
I see that all the time, and I just know that's wrong.
Yeah. So think of it like this. Where can the ones in the end goal are on the corners, because in end goal I can touch down the end goal. So you can touch those and score. You kind of mentioned that earlier. Everything else is 2 meters. It's 2 meters off the line. To be exact, you don't have to bring a ruler out there or anything like that, but they should be 2 meters off the line, and it almost pretty much sets a tunnel for your ARs as well, right? Because when your ARs on the line, if we put those flags on the line, you're fine as AR, you're running to flags a lot. So that's how I remember, because I don't want to run into the flags. Sweet, good question.
I'll ask a question here,
Yeah.
because Saul brought it up, and actually I didn't know that. I didn't see that game. So you can touch the flags on the corners.
Corner
that's
post,
try
yeah,
now.
not the goalpost, not the
goalpost, but the corner flags.
Correct, the corner flags.
Both at the back of the goal too.
The corner flags, yeah.
All four.
Robert, I'll explain the situation, because it might not happen the way you think it's going to happen. But pretty much 2 players were chasing a ball down to the tri-zone. The defensive player knocked the front post of the tri-zone down, so it was in the tri-zone.
It was in goal.
It was on the ground in goal, and then the other player touched the ball down on top of it.
Oh, the flag was in. It was in goal.
Yeah.
You can't just run down the field and the corner flag's there and touch the top of it.
No.
Oh, you had me in a circle there. Okay.
Yeah. I figured you needed more context whenever.
Yeah, I didn't. It's like, wow, when did that happen?
So if they got corner flag posts, especially with those pads, and any part of that pad is in goal, then you treat it like the old school law, where we treat with the goalpost. You can score against the goalpost,
Yeah.
You can't score against goal post, but for a corner flag, if that corner flag is in goal and you touch it and you dot it down there, then yeah, it's a try.
If it's actually in goal.
Correct. Yeah, you can't just go throw your hand against it. Yeah.
Okay. But I mean,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
if the corner flag is actually on the line, then it's out, so that you can't score on it.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Thank you, Saul, because I was like, wow, man.
But you know, a lot of these posts, a lot of these dang things like just fall over or whatever. So
Oh yeah.
say it's fell over in goal and somebody scores on top of it. Technically, that ball never touched the ground because it's on top of a pole. But yes, they've scored to try.
Got it.
Sweet. Find the person in charge just so you know who's in charge, and if anything needs to be fixed or somebody needs to be removed, you know the person that you have to go talk to. Hopefully none of those things happen. Day of that morning, probably check the weather. Is there a lightning delay, or is there going to be a lightning delay? Is it crazily raining and we don't know if we're going to have the game? So you can save yourself some time. Might not even have to drive to the pitch because the pitch is they're there and the pitch is flooded and it's going to be this weather all day and the game isn't happening. And getting there 45 minutes early also gives you time to warm up and get your stretch on. And once again, that's that link again to the New South Wales rugby referee warm up. It's a part of that same thing. Good stretches.
I think the biggest thing when talking to captains, coaches, managers, sort of anyone involved, is to be really clear about sort of what your role there is. And I think at a community level, again, our major role is to facilitate a safe, fair game. And so emphasizing that, everything you do on the day is gonna come back to those values, is gonna make sure that we have a fair contest, but also one that's really safe. Particularly when we're refereeing our school-aged players, I think safety always has to be our number one priority. And so just making sure to sort of establish that with people beforehand sets you up that if you have to make some decisions in the game, they know that that's sort of what your decisions are grounded in.
So our pregame chat with the team. So the pregame chat is important because our goal is to build rapport with the players and the teams because it's essential to our refereeing. We have to have open lines of communication. So like I have here, effective refereeing extends beyond knowing the rules or the laws. You really should say laws. It's about establishing that connection with the players and the coaches so that they trust you and trust what you're saying. So things we want to do specifically in our pregame chat with the team. And let me preface this. We are there as referees to facilitate a safe and fair contest. We are not there to coach the teams on how to play rugby. We're there to facilitate that they play within the laws of rugby, but we are not there to coach the game of rugby. I'm not there to teach you how to pass. I'm not there to teach you how to ruck. I'm not there to teach you how to scrums. I may be there to make adjustments to what we're doing to better ensure safety. But my job is not to teach people how to play rugby. So things we want to do in our pregame chat with the team. One, we want to identify the captain or captains because those are the only people that we want talking to us during the match. We want to convey a message of safety and fair play. We want to emphasize the importance of going through their leadership when they have questions. So let the players filter things through the captain and then the captain to you. As much as we want to be nice to everyone, I'm telling you now, as you move up or you get more and more intense games, more and more people are going to think they understand and know the law and their application of the law. And that means more and more people are going to want to talk to you, bringing more stress upon yourself. Your job is to tell them, talk to your captain. Your captain can have to put that stress on him to filter all the information that he's getting from 14 other people and bring it to you succinctly. Don't put that pressure on yourself having to talk and respond to everyone. You want your pregame chat to be short and succinctly explain the scrum and the lineup setup and safety. And then you can answer any questions in doing that pregame chat. Things we do not want to do in our pregame chat with the team. once again, and I want to emphasize this again, referees are not the coach. So during that pregame chat, we don't need to demonstrate or demonstrate and explain various laws using players or volunteers. It's not a time to engage in debate. What you say goes. Your word is final. So if you say something is a knock, it is a knock. It doesn't matter. Don't sit there and argue back and forth with the team's like, well, we want to do this. And if they ask you, hey, on the line now, I want to put only 0.3 inches of my heels on the white line. If you tell them I want your full foot behind the line, and they start saying, well, I saw in the professional game they're doing this. This isn't a debate. I'm telling you what it's going to be. And if you don't want to fall within that, I'm going to penalize you for it. That's the end of the discussion, right? Don't share your opinions about the other team of players. Shouldn't have to be said, but I don't like this guy on the other team, and I don't like this coach. We shouldn't be saying that to the other team. Keep that to yourself, or call a referee friend about it, or bring it to these chats when the coach isn't on. And then don't overcomplicate things, and that comes for don't do explanations, demonstrations, and thorough explanations of what you said. So to help everyone out, I've created this is pretty much my pregame speech. You do not have to copy this verbatim. Find what's right for you. Find what fits your personality. This is just from me over 7 years, and I'm still rewriting as I go. And depending on the level of competition, I switch it up. It actually, the higher the level, the shorter it can get. But this is about the length of that I go, right? And it should take me about 90 seconds to do a pregame chat with the team. It's me. Hello, everyone. I'm your match referee, Justin Hale. Firstly, who are my captains? So we're answering that first thing. We're finding my captains, whether that's the team captain and the vice captain, or sometimes there's a front row captain or a line out captain or a pad captain, whatever it is. I want to identify those individuals so I know who I'm talking to. Great, thank you. Safety and fair play are my priorities, but safety is at the top. Let's keep the game clean and respect the laws. If you have any issues, please discuss them with your captain, who can discuss them with me. Any questions so far? So now I've identified the captains and the leaders. I've told the team that I'm here for safety, and I've also told them who they should be talking to, which is their leadership, and I've given them the chance to ask any questions about that. Boom, we're done with that. Scrums, please raise your hand if you're a front row qualified player. Only reason I ask this question, and it's not because we don't have the sheet, I want to see faces, and I want to see how many front row players they have. So if they're having a team of 23 and only 3 people raise their hand for a front row, we have a problem, right? Because they still have to have those minimum expectations. I just want to put face to name, and oh man, this is going to be a little bitty pack, and so now I can start thinking about other things in the game. And then I go into my explanation of the scrum. In the scrum, we have 3 commands and 3 distinct movements. I'm looking for stability after each command before moving on to the next. On crouch, I want you low and stable. On bind, I want a long bind onto the jersey. Front row, I want you to be ear to ear, and I want to see a gap. If we are square, stable, and push straight, I'm happy to reward dominance. Sound good? Any questions? Sal, as a pack player, did that tell you everything you know?
That sounds good. Hey,
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Yeah, I don't need to sit there and explain to you how to scrum. Do it because you practice day in and day out how to scrum.
Not one bit, man.
Right. So
makes me happy
Rob,
to hear that know something about the scrum.
Rob, you've been in many of scrums. Do you need a referee trying to explain to you how to scrum on a day?
No, you just looking for square and stable and straight. I always like to say elbows up. And
that's fine. Yes, Sal.
I will say, and I would like this coaching tip on enforcing scrum half offsides for scrums. What is the line? Like what
does the law book say? Read your law book, Sal. Read your law book.
I can't use my coach, my referee coach.
No, because the first thing you have to do, you have to read your law book. It's literally in the law book. It tells you where that offside line is for the scrum half. That's a basic law. It's basic.
It says everything he can do. So it says
Huh?
everything the scrum half can do. So it's all in there.
Yeah, Mark.
Hey, Gustin, it sounded like you were speaking to the entire team. Is that mandatory, or could you just speak to the captains, or
No.
just the captains in the front row, for
Yeah,
example?
great question. Great question, Mark. For me, I leave that up. I leave that up to the and I didn't mention this, so great question. I leave that up to the captain. So I tell the when I go find the people in charge, and when I tell them, hey, I want to talk to your team, but before the match, and mind you, I try to talk to them before they even warm up for the day. So that's my goal, is to talk to them before they warm up. I asked the captain, hey, I can either speak to your front row and front row qualified people, or I can speak to your entire team. It's completely up to you. Some people choose just the front row. Some people choose the entire team because they want to ask. The younger teams usually choose everybody. The more veteran teams usually choose just their front row people. That answer your question?
Yes, sir. That sounds good. Thanks.
Sweet, great question. So we're done with scrums. So we had our short 3 sentences on scrums. Next, I asked, who is my thrower today? Just so I have an eye on who's going to be the person throwing to line out. And I know if I see them rushing to the line, I maybe need to take an extra step to get there. So who is my thrower today? Find their face. At the line out, I would set the line for the defensive and attacking side. That's get set without delay, and we'll have a great day. Any questions on lineouts? It's that simple, right? After that, tell them, hey, if you need me, I'll be warming up around the field. Feel free to come find me to ask any questions. Captain, I'll do the coin toss 5 minutes before kickoff at the 50. That's the end. If you go through and read this and we do it back to back, we take about 90 seconds and we're in and out. We're not there to have a whole discussion or like I said, to teach anybody how to play rugby. Our goal is to set our expectations, get in, get out. Any questions? See, it's part of the routine. So after we have a pregame with the team, we go finish doing whatever we want to do. And now we have a pregame. We also have a pregame chat with the captains. Once again, this is all about building rapport with the team, right? So we got our front row people. We got our captain at that point. We've talked to the coach, and now we brought the captain in individually because they're really a part of your team for that weekend, right? So you have the referee, you might have 2 ARs, but you also have those two captains. So things we want to happen when we have those captains, we want to shake hands, make sure we have good expectations going in. We want to emphasize the importance of communication. We want to make them a part, to make them feel like they're a part of the success of the game. If you don't have ARs, you got your flags, give them your flags at that time so then they can go find your people to be touchies. We want to conduct the coin toss. Side note, players should be flipping the coin and not the referee. It's something that's actually in the law book. The players should be flipping the coin and not the referee, because referees do not shouldn't be affecting the outcome of the game. And so one way we do that, we let the home team flip the coin. And then for extra bonus, if you can take a pre-match picture, post it in the Lone Star chat, throw it on social media in your story and tag Lone Star, fantastic. That's a bonus. You don't have to do it. I don't do it because I don't like taking pictures, but I'm going to start doing it to set the example. So here's my example pre-game speech with the captains. Hello, captains. Firstly, congratulations on being named captains of your team. It's a great honor. We all have a job today. My job is to control the game, and your job is to manage the team. I rely on your leadership to ensure fair play. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them during any downtime, after a try, before line out, or at halftime. Do y'all have any questions? Sweet. Probably no questions, but we're short, we're sweet, and we're to the point. I told them once again, reiterated my job. I asked them to be a part of my team and help them manage the team. And I once again reiterated that the players need to come to them before, and then they can come to me. So we've told them that 2 to 3 times already. Sorry, any questions here? Fantastic. I think this is my last slide. Yep. Last slide. So final thing. So now our final walk to the center of the field. As a side note, I have jog in parentheses because I feel like when you're on the rugby pitch, you should always be moving it and not necessarily walking around. So I prefer jogging to the middle of the field because it also signals to the teams like, oh, he's running to the middle with the ball in his hand. We're probably about to get started. And so it kind of gets them on the road. But before we walk into that field, I do the TSA pat down, right? I look at my hand, I make sure I have my whistle. I check my pockets or my socks, I make sure I have my cards. I look on my wrist and make sure I have my watch and that is set and ready to go. Make sure your watch is set and ready to go before you get to the middle. You'll be surprised how many times a referee gets out there and they're trying to reset their watch and do all this stuff, and everybody's waiting on you. It's not like it's on TV or something. Have your watch set and ready to go. If you're taking your score with pen and paper, make sure you have your pen and paper. If the match ball isn't in the center, you have a match ball in your hand. My big one, have your jersey tucked in. Look the part before you go out there. Have your socks rolled up. Jog to the middle of the field, blow the whistle, and bring the teams on. Any questions here?
Hey, Justin, I didn't hear you say boot check. Are you still doing boot check these days?
Nope.
Perfect, thanks.
Yeah, over the last couple of years, there's been this emphasis of stop putting so much stuff on the referee, right? Before they wanted to check IDs and this, our job is to go out there and facilitate the game. Yeah, so no boot check. So if no questions there, this final page here, just once again, a list of resources. There's some new resources on here that's not on the first presentation, and I'm going to make a resource page on the website as well, so I can have this running list. This referee toolbox series is pretty dang cool. There's quite a few videos in here. They have 79 on just refereeing contextually from top level refs, and they're all like under a minute and a half, 2 minutes. Really cool series that I've been watching. All this information you'll be able to find on our website, texasrugbyreferee.com. You get your match assignments from a signer. If you're not registered as a referee, go to Explore. There's the link. If you haven't done the 2023-24 questionnaire, please do it, because it also tells me if you have kit or not, so we know what kit we need to order and get out to everybody. If you don't know about the USA Rugby Match Learning Center, it's a pretty cool place. I'm gonna click into it here right quick. There's a lot of free resources now for referees that the head of referee development has been working on. They make you do so many clicks to get here. But there are a lot of different presentations from ARing to scrums to whatever it may be within there. So here's a few that I'm doing next, but they're pretty cool, and 99% of them are free. So that's a resource for you. Hey, I know everybody here. You have that list to the Lone Star Conference contacts. Here's the Lone Star email. If you're not a part of the WhatsApp, but I think everyone here is at least, there's your website link. And if you get footage and you want to upload and review that footage, want somebody to review that footage, here's the link to that as well. Anybody that is registered as a referee has access to this footage. We won't go through it today, so I don't have a login here because I'm on my Lone Star profile, but just to quickly show you what this thing looks like. Oh, you can't even see it because I'm sharing a tab. So you couldn't see any of the tabs that I've been flipping through. No worries. Let's do this. I'll share one more time. Boom, boom, boom. This was that referee series that I briefly showed. It said there's 79 videos from about 2 minutes, from about 30 seconds on to 2 minutes. The USA Referee Learning Center, which has a bunch of free courses for referees that you can go and check out. If you get match footage, you can come here to Advantage. There's no Advantage there. Here's my Advantage. You can come in here and upload your footage. We can have a referee coach review it, or anyone else. we can talk. We'll probably share a link to Advantage for another day. Yeah, sweet. And that is it. Are there any questions, comments, concerns, anything that I didn't cover that somebody wants to ask anything on? Stop sharing my screen. Yeah, go ahead, Sal.
So as far as what weather affects games, who is in charge of calling games? Do we have a precedent for lightning or like a protocol? Because
Yeah, we do, and I have to find the one this year for Lone Star, so I'll let you know. It's usually lightning within, it's like 3 or 4 miles, and I can't remember the exact number off the top of my head.
Yeah.
It's one of those things I check when I check the weather on Friday. I'm like, oh, there's gonna be lightning, there's gonna supposed to be rain tomorrow. Let me go look up the policy because it's something I never remember. So thanks. I will find out the lightning policy for you, and I added to here, and I also added somewhere on the website because we should have a direct link to it. So yeah, but that call is made by the referee unless they have like a trainer or somebody on hand who handles that. So sometimes that responsibility is put off to the trainer, or the event organizer. That's once again finding whoever's in charge. And that's more or less them. If at any point you think it's a safety concern, they're like, oh no, it's 5 miles away, but you've seen the light pole next to the pitch just get hit, it's probably not 5 miles away, and the referee has that sole discretion, right?
The game I did, I had a game manager from Baylor. Like their job is to oversee, and they're like the authority of the field. They have a third guard, which is like a lightning detector. It's a fancy one that popped off, so that let us know to go in. And then who makes the call on like calling a game that like we won't proceed with it any further?
So that's usually a part of the policy, but basically if it's more than like an hour or two delay, it's usually time to cancel and reschedule, right? And I'll just tell you one of the policies. This is actually World Rugby, should be, if I remember correctly. But if the game is already made it to the 60-minute mark, then lightning comes, the game is over. So
that's the final result.
Yeah, that's enough time for us to have a final result, right? Because 3/4 of the game has passed by. But I'll get the exact policy for you. Okay. Yeah, question.
And then let's say it doesn't happen or it goes 20 minutes. Would you reschedule the game and it start from scratch again, or do you play it from the minute?
No, that's on the teams. It's the team's job and the conference job to do the reschedule. Most of the time, if it's anything before halftime, the entire game is going to be replayed. But there's been instances. So say the lightning happens and we get to halftime, we have a result for half. We're going to come back to play that second half and not the entire game. So it just depends.
Cool.
Good question. Any other questions?
I don't have any other questions regarding what we talked about, but I have some stuff that I would like some help on, but I don't know if we have time for that right now.
Yeah, I'll stop the recording so this doesn't have to go over, and I'm happy to stay on